Hello, fellow traders. 'Tis I, the Rumpled One, coming to you on Monday, June the 21st. The year's 2021. Let's talk trading. Your thoughts when entering a trade. And one thought you need to keep in mind is that these videos are for educational purposes only, and your results may differ from mine. Now, your thoughts before you enter a trade. Well, one of your thoughts definitely needs to be on your risk management, because when you enter a trade, when you go into that trade, you have to say, I am willing to lose this amount of money and no more. So that's why you have your stop loss in place and you have your position size accordingly. So if price reaches that level and you exit with the loss, it doesn't exceed what you were willing to risk. The other thing, thoughts when entering a trade. Your brain management. You have to make sure you're entering the trade and you don't have any of these fears or regrets working on you that might make you enter early or enter late or enter when it's not even one of your trading methods. So when you enter, you don't fear that you're going to lose out or miss out. And you don't enter because you're afraid that you're going to miss out, have that regret. And you don't want to enter because you regret of being stupid. That's a big one. Now, because there's so many traders out there, they just seem to be chasing, always chasing something, whether it's a new method, a new indicator, a new system, a new broker. They just keep chasing. And more likely than not, if you're watching my videos, you already have the tools necessary. But you have to work on your brain. You have to work on your brain and make sure your brain is functioning properly, because the systems, they're all proven statistically. So it really gets down to your brain, because once you have the risk management down, that's simple. You just have to make sure you execute it. And on the money management side, once again, it's more brain management than it really is money management. You see, you've got a 5 pip profit, but if you let fear or regret get in, it's like, oh, the last time I got out, it ran 10 pips, so I'm going to stay in. Now it drops to 4, to 3, to 2, to 1. Now you're mad because you gave back over half of what you had. And so then you think it's going to go back the other way, and you wind up, with the stop loss. Or you wind up in a trade maybe that takes an hour or two, and you're stuck in that trade, and you finally exit an hour or two later, and in the meantime you've missed maybe 1 or 2 or 3 profitable trades that you could have taken, all because you failed to take profit when you could have. And it's not a hairy hindsight thing. If you're trading in the moment, you have to make that decision right there in the moment. And what happens next or what happened before doesn't matter. All that matters is what's happening now. And that's hard for a lot of traders. So once again, the risk management, that's pretty straightforward. The money management, that's slightly discretionary. But the brain management, that's the one that you have to work on, because that's the one that's going to haunt you, trade after trade after trade. So here we're looking at the monthly candle here, and you can see got a big red, but it's 145 pips off the bottom. Now, I don't remember if it was last week or the week before, when exactly, but I told you that if you line up the rat zones, if the monthly and the weekly rat zones are lining up and you still have time left in the month, there could be a nice trade, and in this case it paid out. Now somebody could say that's hairy hindsight, but no, I told you that in advance. And the thing is, in the beginning of the month it was up in the upper rat zone. It pulled down 317 pips at the moment, but if you add these two together, there was a huge trade to get from the rat zone at the top and then go back in from the bottom. And on the weekly, last night's video, I believe price was right at 3,800, and I had said that we had an open pivot, and I'm sure those who watched that video, most of them never would have thought that price is going to run 100 and 11 pips, 12 pips, and take out that pivot. Well, guess what? It did. So once again, it's part of brain management, and big part of that, those thoughts, you have to have the thought. And when you enter the trade, you're trusting in the system. So if you're doing a pivot fade, doesn't matter if it's 2 pips away or 200. You just have to trust the statistics and see if it plays out or not. And in this case, it did. And, once again, we had a missed pivot here. And then last week, it took out that missed pivot. So, and that was what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks ago. So yeah, maybe it might take a while for it to, and chances are if you had traded here, you would have been stopped out. But the thing is, knowing that that missed pivot is sitting down there, and knowing how often pivots get filled, and then you see the price action up here where it went above, but it didn't close above that high, didn't close above that high. There was opportunity to get in a rat trade targeting that pivot. But, I don't think anybody did that. Because what are your thoughts when you enter the trade? Is it just to grab a handful of pips? Is it to target something like a missed pivot of 4 or 5 weeks ago? That's what you have to work on. And then once you're in that trade, you have to have the thought of, am I going to let the trade play out and either hit the stop or take profit, or am I going to get in there and live and die with each tick? It's up to you. There's no right or wrong. It's based on your personality, based on the screen time you have available. Because if you have to go to work, then, targeting a take profit and a stop loss just makes sense. But if you can sit in front of the screen for a couple hours, then yeah, you can get in and you can basically day trade and do DSR trades and wall mall trades and the like, rat trades, buy zone trades, things of that nature, pivot fades, wick zone trades. You can do them all when you're sitting there. And here we're putting in the opening range for the week, and you can see it's going to be huge. So the question is price going to come back in, test the bottom, come back in, break through the high? Year to date, now we're 286 pips above that yearly open, 277 below the monthly open, and 127 above the day and the week open. Inside bars, no trades on the pound. The way the day's going, we might have an outside bar. 146 pip range. You can see we've got some nice ranges. It looks like in the pound pairs and the yen pairs, except for the dollar yen, doesn't seem to be moving. But we got the CAD and the Swiss. They moved huge. Even one of my old favorites, the euro yen, moved nicely. And you can see here the price action. I think it was last night when I put the video up. I can't remember. I think we were right at either here or here. I don't remember which hour it was, but you can see what's happening. Went right through the buy zone, came back, touched that open, and then shut. Maybe it was here, because I remember price had come down. So it might have been one of these, and we were at the double low. See, what was that low? 05. It might have been this one. I don't remember. Point being is, you just trade what you see, know what the statistics say, and act accordingly. Now you can see that we've got a future pivot of 38.81 at the moment. 82 just now, it ticked up. Point being, tomorrow you'd be looking to fade that pivot. And so when you enter these trades, you're thinking, am I trusting the system? Just trying to grab a few pips? Because I don't think any of you, when you enter a trade, have the thought, I'm entering this trade knowing it's going to be a loser. If you thought the trade was going to be a loser, you wouldn't enter. But you have to remember, you don't know if it's going to be a winner or a loser. That's why we have stop losses in place. Because any trade could be a winner, any trade could be a loser. And the funny thing is that you could have two traders entering at the same time. And one trader grabs 2 pips and the other trader loses 5. Same trade, same entry. What was the difference? It was the trader, not the system. In fact, there was a trader out there on YouTube was saying that he just can't find a system, I guess that fits his personality or something. But you see, you could pick any system. You got to get your brain management, your thoughts when entering a trade. You have to have your thoughts working for you. So first thought is knowing I could lose on this trade. You don't go into a casino and put your money up and place a bet thinking you're going to win every bet. You hope you win, but you don't really think you're going to win. Well, the same thing here. You have to almost have that same mentality that, there's a good chance I'm going to lose. Difference is when you bet at a casino, you're going to risk a certain amount, and it's not going to keep going against you. So you put a trade up, say $100, and it goes against you, and you lose 100. It's not like it's going to keep losing, and the casino says, hey, you got to give us another 100 because you keep losing. No, you place each individual bet. So same thing, you place each individual trade, you limit your loss, and then you just have to decide when to take profit if the market gives you that opportunity. I mean, that's trading in a nutshell. It's really simple, but you have to analyze each piece and realize that you are the weak link, because your risk management should be solid. You can learn that on day one. It's not difficult. Your brain management takes some time because you're going to have to get over your emotions and keep them in check. Your money management can be very simple too. You can put that in place in day one. But it's that brain management, that's you, that you have to work on constantly. Rat zones. Right here, this was a rat zone, but at the time it wasn't enough pips. You can see now the red rats. And the indicator, if you had the latest one, it lets you know that the weekly lower rat zone and the monthly the daily lower rat zone was also the weekly lower and the monthly lower. So on the week, since it's the first day, it's going to be the weekly. But that monthly lower rat zone, it should have been a key. Start thinking about taking rat trades to the north. Once again, we took out the daily pivot and the weekly pivot. So you can see here, we have a missed pivot here. On the weekly, you have a missed pivot from back in April. I believe that's your missed pivot let's see, 137.82. That was today. 130, yeah, 61. Here's that missed pivot.